So, guys, welcome again. Welcome to another episode of the WSXM podcast. As always, my mantra, a united Africa is an undisputed Africa, which is a fact. So, anyway, um, Ghana health industry has been taking a hit because of a brain drain, which they take. Nurses are going overseas for better opportunities. I'm not talking about regular. I'm not talking about regular nurses. But you know what? Let me share this video so you can understand what I'm talking about and better discuss it. Boom.
Ghana's healthcare delivery is at a tipping point. The outflow of nurses from the country is leading to understaffing at many hospitals. Gifty Ayi heads the nursing department at a hospital in the capital Accra and says the situation is dire.
Is the specialized nurses who are being taken, the ICU nurses, the intensive care nurses, the perioperative, those who deal with surgery, who scrub with the doctors, and the emergency nurses. They are going. And they are very critical. Because of that, in my main ICU, I have 5 beds. Naturally, 1 nurse to 1 patient. So I have to have 5 ICU nurses, morning, afternoon, and night, which will be 15 in a day. Now I have only 5 of them left.
Ghana's Registered Nurses and Midwives Association says more than 4,000 nurses and midwives have left the country to seek better opportunities abroad in the past year. If the trend continues, there are fears that Ghana's health sector could face a crisis.
If the nurses are exhausted, they make mistakes. They are burnt out. So when it happens that way, service delivery is diminished. You can't take the cases that you want. And when the cases are there, the care you give to is not very adequate.
People want to move because they want to better their lives. They want to move because there are certain push factors here and there are certain pull factors out there. For the high income earning countries, of course, we all know the salaries are better, the conditions of service are better, and therefore it's more attractive to them.
Health is an essential service, so it should be treated differently from other non-essential services. And then maybe people also having the core like they do it for the other essential services. People know that when I retire, maybe I retire on my salary and all this. These are things that we are sitting down to talk about and then come out with a very comprehensive conclusion.
But it may take a while for this to be realized. Many nurses and other health workers in Ghana feel they have no other option but to seek better opportunities abroad.
So there you're seeing the video where it's like special nurses for ICC, that's ICC. It's the intensive care unit. It's like the midwives, all those important nurses that are needed and you see the head nurse is telling you they need 15 nurses per day and they only have 5. So you can imagine the overwork that's going on. They're not getting paid for the extra hours of these nurses. But here's my 2 cents. I can't really fault someone for wanting better for themselves and their family, especially if they go to school and spend all this money on education and now they want a return on it. And when you go to further your education to become a nurse, doctor, whatever, you need to do it because you want to provide a certain lifestyle for you and your family. And if you have kids, husband and wife, vice versa, it doesn't matter. And this is not only a Ghana thing, this is an Africa thing where Africa and the Caribbean, because there's a lot of nurses and doctors from my country, Jamaica. Nurses and not doctors, nurses and teachers have migrated on a high percentage to the States, to England, and to different places for to work and to have a better life, to be able to help their family. So it's natural for human beings to want better for themselves. So I cannot really fault the nurses for leaving, but I can fault the government. You're supposed to make it's attractive to stay in a country and work and be patriotic, but it need to have a financial um, some financial help have to be there, which means if I can't pay these nurses more money to stay, well, give them free homes or yeah, give them free homes or take care of their if we can give them a grant or a grant, as in like a allowance. So if you can raise the salary to the necessary level, that is it's warranted. Well, help them out in the household with the light, so you pay the light and water, or you pay utilities, or you can pay the rent, half the rent, or you build homes for nurses where they can stay and live for free while working, so they can have a little more spending power. That's a good idea. You have other countries that's doing it. That's why they're living in such a high numbers. They're getting homes. They're being put in homes where they don't have to pay rent, and the utilities are taken care of. Some of them get cars for transport to go back and forth to work, or they have a bus, a designated bus to carry them back and forth from work to home, and they still getting a bit of salary. So, and anyone with common sense would want that. So I can't blame them. But government, even in Jamaica, government really need to step up. You see, government can spend so much money and all kind of unnecessary programs when the main people you need in society, which is police officers, nurses, doctors. Well, not doctors, 'cause doctors typically get paid well. Nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers. Those four professions should be paid properly and compensated properly, so they don't leave to go to other countries like Germany. Is Germany is actually giving special um, packages to African um, professionals. So is England, so is the States. And you see, notice it, when things, when they have any flare up in a race, between the races, with like a race issue, the first thing Europeans like to tell black people is go back where you come from. But yet, they're not telling the nurses and the doctors and the teachers and all those um, people in their health system and the school system. They're not telling those black people to go back home. Only the others. So they don't really want black people to go home, because if black people actually listen and say, okay, we're going home, their healthcare will fall apart, their schools gonna crumble, their their army and their police force are gonna be in shambles, because majority of these institutes have foreign workers working in them. Most of them are not American born. They become citizens through naturalization, but not a born American. So if they have to go back home, what do you think will happen to these institutes? So I really hope these in the future there can be a better way for Africa to move forward to help a more lucrative package for professionals like engineers, doctors, lawyers, teachers, police officers. They need to up their their packages there for these professionals, so they don't lose them to the bigger countries. And sometimes too, some of these people have to also be patriotic. Yeah, you might get a little bit more money, yes, but you're facing racism, you're being looked down on, you're being scolded, because you're black, they don't listen to you, or they don't take your words as and they quickly accuse you of anything, while your white counterparts have it way easier, because most of the time, as a black person, we have to work 4, 5, 6 times as hard as the whites. Why? Because that's why we are so good at what we do, because we have to work much harder to reach the. If a white person is at level 1, we have to be at level 10 to match their level 1. That's how the world see us. At all of that, that's why we are so much better at almost everything. But because of institutional racism, not individual racism, because individual racism is not that great as our people might make it sound, but the institutional racism is global. Every country right now is treating blacks as less than. Every single country in Europe, in Asia as well. Even Asia is joining in. The Chinese, Japanese, the Koreans, the all them, they all dislike and treat us horribly. And I want us to stop, go to vacation in these countries and start to go to Africa, visit the motherland, spend the money there where you'll be welcome and loved, not go somewhere where they accuse you of um, There's so much videos on YouTube where when African black people go to as a tourist to other destinations, they have the way they're treated. They're treated like shit, less than like animals. They even give animals priority over us in some places. So I personally remember in Ukraine when they had the Ukraine war and then there was evacuating and remember what they do to Africans? There was a video of it, there is a document of it. They tell the black people to come off the train and they put on dogs on the train instead of black people. So they see, and Israel is doing the same thing. Saudi Arabia is doing the same thing. They recently deported 177 Nigerians for some. They was going to deport 254, but because Nigeria get involved now, they cut it down to 177. So it's a fact. So let me know what you think about this in the comment section. As always, tell a friend, like, comment, share, subscribe. Boom.